रेडियो उड़ान के अपडेट्स लेने के लिए इस चैनल को सब्सक्राइब कीजिए और इस वीडियो को ज्यादा से ज्यादा लाइक कीजिए और शेयर कीजिए। फॉर मोर इन्फो लॉग ऑन टू www.radioudan.com। सुनिए, मेन्यू में क्या है?
सब मिलेगा ना दीदी। छोले भटूरे, दाल मखनी, कढ़ाई पनीर, पनीर टिक्का, चिकन टिक्का, सीख कबाब, रोगन जोश, बिरयानी, पिज्जा, पाव भाजी, चिली पनीर, मंचूरियन, नूडल्स। आप कहाँ से शुरू करेंगी?
शुरू तो हैंड वॉश से ही करूंगी। सैवलॉन स्वस्थ इंडिया कहता है, अगर जर्म्स और बीमारियों से रखनी है दूरी, खाने से पहले हैंड वॉश है जरूरी।
स्मार्ट वर्ल्ड में स्मार्ट बनने के लिए उपयोग करें स्मार्ट ऑन का। स्मार्ट ऑन, जो कि एक असिस्टिव डिवाइस और मोबाइल एप्लीकेशन है, जो आपको हेल्प करेगा किसी भी चीज को, करेंसी को आइडेंटिफाई करने में या पढ़ाई में, क्योंकि इसमें लगा है स्मार्ट कैमरा। स्मार्ट कैमरा के साथ साथ इसमें है स्मार्ट आई, जो डायग्राम्स, चार्ट्स, ग्राफ्स को समझने में आपकी हेल्प करेगा। इसके डॉक AI फीचर से आप डॉक्यूमेंट्स को 13 भाषाओं में समझ सकते हैं। इसके AI ट्यूटर फीचर से अपने किसी भी सवाल का जवाब जान सकते हैं और इसके स्मार्ट इमेज फीचर से किसी भी व्हाट्सएप इमेज को आप इस पे अपलोड करके उसकी समरी जान सकते हैं। स्मार्ट ऑन डिवाइस को किसी भी आई ग्लास में फिट करके आप इसका लाभ उठा सकते हैं और इसकी एप्लीकेशन का लाभ उठाने के लिए इसके साथ दी गई केबल को अपने एंड्रॉइड फोन में लगाएं। इस डिवाइस को चार्ज करने की भी आवश्यकता नहीं पड़ती, क्योंकि ये फोन से ही पावर लेता है। ये डिवाइस अगर आप खरीदना चाहते हैं या इस पे कोई भी सब्सिडी चाहते हैं तो राब्ता करें हमारी सपोर्ट टीम 7016606884 से। स्मार्ट ऑन, जो कर दे आपकी लाइफ को फुल ऑन।
जी दोस्तों, नमस्कार, आदाब, सत श्री अकाल। मैं दानिश महाजन प्रोग्राम बदलता दौर में आपका स्वागत करता हूं। आज नए शो में मिलवाएंगे एक नए मेहमान। इंडिया में बहुत कम ऑर्गेनाइजेशंस हैं जो क्वालिटेटिव ट्रेनिंग्स प्रोवाइड करवाती। कहने को तो हजारों ऑर्गेनाइजेशंस हैं, लेकिन बहुत कम हैं जो आपको क्वालिटेटिव ट्रेनिंग्स प्रोवाइड करवाती हैं और जॉब मार्केट को समझते हुए आपको ट्रेनिंग करवाती। उनमें से एक ट्रेनिंग के डायरेक्टर से आज हम आपको मिलवाएंगे। जानेंगे उनकी ऑर्गेनाइजेशन के बारे में डिटेल में, किस तरह के प्रोजेक्ट रन करते हैं, क्या आइडिया और विजन है इस ऑर्गेनाइजेशन की, किस तरह की असिस्टिव डिवाइसेस वो प्रोवाइड करवाते हैं और कहां कहां उनकी ऑर्गेनाइजेशन फंक्शनल है। इन सब पर बात करने के लिए आप लोगों ने कई बार सुना होगा इस ऑर्गेनाइजेशन का नाम। जी हाँ, आज हम बात करेंगे विजन एड के डायरेक्टर विजय फ्रांसिस साहब और जानेंगे इस ऑर्गेनाइजेशन के बारे में। Welcome, sir, and thank you so much for giving us time.
Thank you, Danish. It's a pleasure for me to be part of this program.
So before we come to your organization, first tell us a little bit about yourself.
Sure. So I am an engineer, computer science engineer, and by profession, and I graduated from an engineering college in Tamil Nadu, actually in a place called Coimbatore in Tamil Nadu. And I started my career in IT industry back in the 90s, in the mid 90s. And I spent more than 25 years working for major IT services companies. Spent about 20 years working for Cognizant Technology Solutions. It's one of the leading IT services company in the world. And then sometime in 2020, I decided to switch and wanted to do something for social cause. And so I came across Vision Aid. It was by chance. I came across Vision Aid and I spoke to the founders of the organization. I really liked what they were doing. And so I got associated myself with the Vision Aid back in 2020. And so over the last 4.5 or close to 5 years, I've been working or associated myself with Vision Aid, working across various programs. I initially started as a program director, managing all the programs for Vision Aid in India. And then I switched about a couple of years back. I switched tracks, and then I am playing more of an advisory role now, helping them in very core strategic areas.
Right.
So that's about me, Danish.
What was your perception? You are non-disabled, and you said 5 years back you had encountered with the founder of this organization, and then you thought of doing some social work, and you joined Vision Aid. So, what was your perception before for persons with disabilities, and what has changed afterwards?
To be honest, before I joined Vision Aid, I hardly knew anything about people with disabilities. Obviously, I've not seen much of people with disabilities in Cognizant where I worked. We had a few people with physical disabilities, locomotor disability, and so on. But my knowledge of disability was very limited, actually. So my perception really changed after I joined Vision Aid. Some of the myths that surrounds people with disability, I also had the same myth, in terms of would they be able to access a computer, will they be able to use a smartphone, how do they really, navigate, in urban cities or, so on and so forth. But that perception completely changed, when I started learning about people with disabilities, especially, the visually challenged. I came to know that they are as capable as any other individual. They can do every task that any other individual can do. I had no idea about assistive technology. Before I joined Vision Aid, I learned a lot about assistive technologies. Using screen readers. People with vision challenges can access a computer, use a smartphone, and all those things. So it was a complete paradigm shift, for me. And once I started learning more about about people with disabilities, my appreciation for the work that I started doing, only grew, actually. And so I wanted to really contribute and probably take this awareness to more people, across the country. And so I use any forum that is possible, to advocate for people with disabilities, advocate for more accessible environment, both physical as well as digital environment, for everybody to have access to the same content, and so on and so forth. So it has been a great learning experience for me.
Right. So tell us about your organization, Vision Aid. What is the vision of this organization? When was it founded? And what are the projects you are running now?
So Vision Aid was started back in 2004 in a place called Visakhapatnam in Andhra Pradesh. The reason it was started in Vizag was because the founders were based there. And it started as a very small organization focused on serving the cause of people with vision challenges, vision disability. And in the beginning years, the focus was serving people in and around the Vizag region. So it was a pretty small organization where a few people, visually challenged people who heard about this organization would come to the center and would get, some assistive devices like canes, or take up, basic training programs such as orientation and mobility, or basic computer training, and so on and so forth. So that is how Vision Aid was in the founding years, right? But I would say in the last decade or so, Vision Aid has transformed itself into a pan-India organization. And in terms of our vision and mission, our vision is to enable, educate, and empower people with vision disability, so that they can live a independent and dignified life. So that is our vision. And how do we achieve that? We achieve that through our partnership network. So we decided about 10 years back to expand our reach, through a network of partners. And the way we do that is we partner with the leading eye hospitals across India. We partner with the blind schools. We partner with community organizations, and to provide, various services for the visually challenged. So if you look at our core service map, we can categorize them into three broad areas. The first area is on the vision rehabilitation. The second area is on skill development and education and skill development. The third area is providing assistive devices and toolkits for the visually challenged. So these are three focus areas for us. Now, on the vision rehabilitation side, we actually provide a host of services, including vision evaluation, vision assessment, early intervention, providing assistive devices such as digital magnifiers and so on, and providing with basic training, for people with vision challenges like life skill training, orientation, mobility kind of training, and so on and so forth. So these training we offer, these services we offer in partnership with the leading eye hospitals in India. So today we work with almost about 15 plus hospitals, eye hospitals across India. We partner with some of the major hospitals, including Shankara Nethralaya in Chennai, Arvind Eye Care System in Madurai, Dr. Shroff Eye Care in Delhi, LV Prasad Eye Institute in Hyderabad, Community Eye Care Foundation in Pune, and so on and so forth. So we have a network of these resource centers. We call it as resource centers. Our centers are called Vision Aid Resource Centers. These centers have been established in these eye hospitals where people are referred. People who go through vision loss or who have been who have permanent disability are referred to these centers. They can come in there and they can get these services. So this is one big part. And in 2024, we actually served close to about 25,000 people just on the vision rehabilitation side. Now, the second part of our service is the education and training. And so here we offer three different types of our levels of training. We have basic level training, which includes, like a basic computer training or training on basic communication skills like spoken English, or training on orientation mobility, training on life skills, training on how to use a smartphone, and so on and so forth. So these are the basic level trainings, which are mostly which helps to empower people with vision disability. And then we have the more advanced level trainings. For example, preparing students for taking competitive exam like banking exams or public sector exams, and so on and so forth. And then we have the technology level program, like for example, training on Python programming language, or digital accessibility testing, or BPO, training folks for the BPO industry. So these are more job-oriented training programs that we offer. And our training programs are offered both at the center, in-person training at the center, or it is also offered online, through communication channels like Zoom or Teams. So last year, we know Vision Aid trained close to about 1,000 people directly in these training programs. And then with the help of our partners, we were able to train more than 3,000 people. So this is a big part of what Vision Aid does. And the third big area is providing assistive devices. And so we actually provide about 5 or 6 devices, different types of devices. We provide digital magnifiers. We provide smartphones. We provide laptops for school kids and college kids. We provide smart vision glasses, which is a very innovative artificial intelligence powered device manufactured by one of our partners, SHG Technologies, which is based in Bangalore. And we also provide another device called the Aura Vision glasses, which has just recently been launched, and this is primarily for low vision people. So these kind of devices really helps people be able to lead a more independent life. And so we offer more than 1,000 devices every year. Different types of devices. We offer about 1,000 to 1,500 devices every year. So these are the three broad or big areas of what Vision Aid does.
Awesome, sir. And I really congratulate you for taking such initiatives and empowering a lot of persons with the visual disabilities. Now we will come back to these programs one by one, and we'll discuss some key aspect of this program. Let's talk about first your resource centers. Do you think it is the work of the NGOs? Don't you think it must be done by the hospitals itself?
Yeah, very good question, Danish. Actually, ideally, this has to be done by the hospitals. But the challenge for the hospitals is the hospitals are profit centers, and anything and everything they do has to lead to some kind of a revenue generation stream for these hospitals. Otherwise, it doesn't get the attention of their senior management team. While many doctors have advocated, eye doctors, ophthalmologists, they've advocated for setting up a rehabilitation center, it has never been a core part of what the hospitals does. The core part for them is still medical intervention, right? And so we actually, about more than 10 years back, when we started looking at what can we do for the visually challenged, what can we do more actually for the visually challenged, we actually identified this as a white space, where there is nothing much that is being done. Although there were some organizations which are already doing rehabilitation in some form or other. For example, LV Prasad Eye Institute is, I think, one of the pioneer in vision rehabilitation. They had set up the rehabilitation program, more than 20 years back.
Right.
And so they are one of the very few hospitals which were actually offering rehabilitation service. But beyond that, if you go to any major eye hospitals, it was not a priority area for them. And so that is where we started,
Undoubtedly, it's a great job what you are doing. Now, see, because we talk to many persons with visual disabilities who gets blind, and they often say doctors, they don't even tell you that, okay, now you got blind, you can go to schools, you can study, there are a lot of schemes for you. They will not say a single word. Now, it is the basic thing, right? If when you said it's a revenue generation machine, okay, accepted. But when the person got blind or low vision, at least they should tell ki what are the rehabilitation things are available for you. But they are not even doing that much. So when you say, now you said you have presence in 15 hospitals. Now we have thousands and thousands hospitals in India. How would we reach out to them?
Yeah. So obviously, we cannot, Vision Aid cannot do everything. So there needs to be a lot more people who needs to come forward and take up this as a cause. And you rightly said, Danish, where people who lose their vision, later in their life, whether they are in their teens or in the adult life, when they start losing vision, it's a drastic change for them. It's a life-changing event actually, and they get shattered, and they don't know how to cope up with this new change in their life. And this is where rehabilitation becomes very important, because it actually helps them guide them into how to cope up with the new way of living, right? And so, like you said, hospitals, the doctors have not provided much of an intervention here, because this actually facility was not available. This facility was not available in many of these hospitals. And now, with the help of Vision Aid, for example, let's take Shankara Netralia, where we have been working, where resource center has been there for the last 5+ years. Doctors are trained to refer patients to the rehabilitation center. So people where there is no, medically it is impossible to do anything, with a patient, they are referred to the rehabilitation center. And at the center, several interventions are brought in, to help people cope up with the new way of life, right? And we are seeing that change. We see these centers see hundreds of patients every day actually, and so much of transformation that is happening with these patients. There is so much of success stories that we have seen where people are able to lead a very normal life because of the interventions that we've been.
Absolutely.
Yeah.
I think it's a wonderful thing what you people are doing. It's amazing. So
our intent is that we want to have presence in at least all the states of India. That is where we are working now to expand our scope and reach. At least there should be one Vision Aid resource center in every state of India. That is what we are working on. We have good presence in the southern part of India. We work in almost all the major states of southern India. Now we are expanding in northern India. We have good presence in the Delhi region. We have good presence in Uttar Pradesh. We have good presence in West Bengal. So we are reaching out to potential partners, potential eye hospitals with whom we can partner and set up the resource center. So that is our goal, and that is what we want to do in the coming years.
Is there any challenge to run these resource center?
See, there is really no challenge. I would say, as long as the hospitals are willing to provide a space to run these centers, and then be able to provide with some trained staff. These centers, we don't need a big team actually to start these centers. We just need maybe a couple of staff, medically trained staff to start these centers. The resources will be provided by Vision Aid. The hospitals have to just provide a space and then some assistance with staff, and then this can be started. So it's not very difficult to start these centers. The training and other things for these staff will be provided by Vision Aid through our partners. And so professional training, for optometrists, or for counselors or therapists or whoever, right? It's all provided by us. And so it's not very difficult actually to start these centers.
Okay. So you don't face any challenge when you reach out to hospitals. So do they readily agree on this, or it takes time?
Most hospitals, they do agree, they appreciate that we are coming forward to set up these centers. So there is really not a lot of pushback, especially with big hospitals, because there the resources are available, and so we
Right.
can get started. But when we go to a smaller hospital, like an eye clinic or something, especially operating in a tier 2 city or a tier 3 city, then it becomes a little bit of challenge because there is a space crunch. They don't have enough staff, and so getting trained staff in such places is a little bit of a challenge. Such challenges do exist, but especially expanding in a tier 1 or a tier 2 city is not a big deal. Actually, we have been very successful in expanding there.
Right. Now, getting back to your second initiative, skill development program.
Yeah.
Now, I want to understand because I think Vision Aid, one of its own kind organization who started Python training way back.
Correct.
Very rare organization have started this training. And whenever I met with the people who get training from Vision Aid, they are very satisfied.
Mhm.
They say कि organization must be like that when it comes to giving training. But I find कि Vision Aid does marketing very little.
Mhm.
So very rare people are able to get opportunity to be trained by Vision Aid. When you run your program very successfully, you are running your qualitative programs. Why marketing is very slow and very little?
Yeah, I think it's a good question actually. So when the founders of Vision Aid, right, Mr. Ramakrishna Raju and his father, Mr. M.S. Raju, they are the founders of Vision Aid. Their focus initially was to provide qualitative training. I think that word qualitative that he used is a very good word actually. Qualitative training to visually challenged people, and that was the focus actually. If you look at all the training programs we offer, whether they are basic level programs or advanced level programs, the course material or the course curriculum have been incubated within Vision Aid. We have created this over the years, and this has not been done by us just because we had great people in the organization and we knew everything, but through consultative mechanism. We had reached out to several organizations, not only in India but across India, across the world, to take the best advice, or the best materials that needs to be included in the curriculum. And so our focus has always been to strengthen our curriculum and create good trainers within the organization, and to be able to provide this training program. But marketing was limited actually. But having said that, in the last couple of years, I would say that we have increased our efforts to market our training programs. Obviously, thanks to social media, we now have a good presence on WhatsApp. We also have strengthened our presence on social media channels, including Facebook, Twitter, and Instagram. And so we are now starting to reach out to potential candidates through all these channels now. Earlier, it was more a word of mouth. Somebody had taken a training program in Vision Aid, and then they will refer a friend or somebody, a colleague or a friend to us, and they will register. And that is how we used to mobilize candidates for our training programs. But now we have become a little bit more better in reaching out to a larger audience and also market our programs better. Although there is a long way to go, in terms of marketing our training programs more, but we have understood the importance of marketing, and so we have invested in that. We have a marketing head now within Vision Aid who works on this specifically of this task of promoting our programs much more wider actually.
When we go to private players for employment, they always complain for one thing, that we have plenty of jobs but not skilled persons with disability,
right,
including persons with the visual challenges.
Yep.
Now organizations are blamed that they are running conventional trainings. They are no more advancing their trainings to the needs of job market. How would you respond?
So there are two things, right? One is understanding the need of the industry, right? What is the required today actually in the job market? Let's take as an example. You spoke about Python training. Python training has been one of our flagship programs for a very long time, along with digital accessibility testing. These programs were started way back, back in 2018, 2019 timeframe. We've been offering these training programs for the last 7-8 years. Now, one of the things that we do by design is that our curriculum is not static. What we built in 2017 or 18 is not what we teach today, because the technology has changed, the industry has also changed, the expectations are very different now. And that is where people like Bhargav come in. Bhargav is a specialist in digital accessibility testing. He has long years of experience working with the leading organizations in this space, and he's well connected to the industry. And so we have people like them, practitioners in the organization, who are able to provide us the inputs, periodically, that the needs of the industry is changing. And so we need to adapt our training programs or adapt our curriculum to what the employers would require actually. So we constantly update our curriculum to bring it in alignment with what the industry wants. And so that's one of the USP for us. And that is why, if you look at our digital accessibility testing training program, we have seen the success we have seen with that program is pretty impressive. In the last 5+ years, we would have trained more than 250 people on accessibility testing, and at least 60-70% of them are working for leading companies in India. Some of them we are working abroad also. So that's the kind of success we have seen with this kind of training program, and that is because our ability to continuously adapt to the changing needs of the employers, changing needs of the industry, changing needs of the changing technology, and so on and so forth. So we keep our eyes and ears tuned to the ground, and so that we can continue to offer the best training program for our students.
Do you think other organizations must follow your model as well?
I think most organizations, or leading organizations in this space, they try to do this actually. I don't know, meaning I'm not
playing safe.
But it's also the way we deliver this training, right? Our training programs are pretty long. Our training programs usually run for about 4 to 5 months, and we are not focused only on providing theoretical training. Our focus is also providing more practical training to the students. So while we might have 2 or 3 sessions every week on theory subjects, but we expect the students to spend another 6 to 8 hours every week working on practicing what they learned through assignments or through.
Since you don't want to get into other organizations' domain, so I will not ask you much about
it.
That.
Is not fair. It is not fair for me to comment about other organizations because I don't know completely what they are doing. But I'm just saying, what is the difference in our way of delivering this training program compared to some other organizations is because we take a lot of time in training these candidates. It's not a crash course kind of a thing for us. Every training programs.
But when we discuss as a sector, so there are requirement to change with the time, because we are seeing there is a lot to be done. Though the organizations are doing a lot of good things, but still a lot of things needs to be changed. Particularly when we see our special schools, still they are not adapting technology. Still the old methods are there. So there are things needs to be changed, right, in certain ways. So one thing you have spoken about competitive exam training. I think most of the listeners will be interested in that. Banking and SSC. Do tell us a little bit about that training. Do you provide that online as well, and what is the way forward to join that training?
Yeah, so that training is offered both online and offline. Online training is available for everyone across India. They can register and they can join that program. Offline training is today offered only in 2 places, one in Chennai and another in Vizag. These are 2 locations where this training is offered in person, but online training is open to everybody. The focus is on preparing the students for competitive exams. So there are four major modules that we focus on. One is reasoning skill. The another is maths. Another is English, and then the fourth one is general awareness. These are the four important topics that are covered in most competitive exams. And so we have actually, to provide this training, we have partnered with a third-party organization which actually specializes in this kind of training program. And so their trainers actually provide, but we have also worked with them in customizing this training program for the benefit of the visually challenged people. And this training program we have been offering for the last 4 or 5 years now, and we have had a fair amount of success actually in this training program. Many of them who have completed this training program are now working in leading banks or public sector organizations or local government organizations and so on and so forth. It's very easy to join these training programs. All they have to do is just to register with us, and then the list of programs, they just have to choose this program as one of the programs they're interested in, and then somebody from Vision Aid will contact them and they can get enrolled into this program. And one more thing is that all our training programs, I would say 90% of our training programs are offered free of cost. So there is nothing that students have to pay for it. It is only a very few handful of programs where we charge a nominal administrative fee, but other programs are all free. So Vision Aid training programs, majority of them are offered free of cost.
What is your website address?
They can go into visionaidindia.org. and they can just go into the training and then they can go from there. Or they can actually go into academy.visionaid.org and directly register. So there are two websites. What I can do is I can share the links with you so that you can share
I'll give
it
in description box. Yeah.
Yes.
So now third part is your assistive devices distribution program.
Right.
So do you give it to individuals or schools? How to get help if anybody wants to take? So what is the way forward and how does it work?
Right. So so there are two ways you can the two ways where through which we offer these devices. One is through our partners, which are the hospital network, because most hospitals already have a mechanism to segregate their patients between paid service and free patients, right? So when these patients come to our rehab center, and if they are coming from an economically weaker section, and when the moment we sense that they are in need of an assistive device, whether it's a digital magnifier or whether it's a smartphone or whatever, so it gets flagged, right, that this person is in a need of assistive device, and then we take these inputs from our hospital network or our partners, and then we offer these assistive devices to them. This is one way of doing it. The other way is we work with the blind schools across India. We have a very strong network of blind schools. Today we have connected to almost 30 plus schools across India in almost all the states of India. And so through this network, we again reach out to the schools and take inputs from them in terms of what is their need, especially students who are in their taking board exams are generally in need of devices such as laptops or even smartphones, right? Because they can use it for learning more, through public materials that are available in the public domain. So when the schools raise this request to us, then we reciprocate by offering these devices to the schools. Right now we don't take any direct registration for these devices. Usually, if somebody is interested to come to us, somebody is interested to get a assistive device, they can approach one of our partner network, or they can come through a community organization with whom we are working on. So the best way to do it is if they visit our website, visionaidindia.org, they will be able to see the list of hospitals where we work, and they can reach through one of the nearest hospitals, and then they can register themselves for that.
So you said you have partnered with 30 and more than 30 blind schools.
Right.
So what did you find there? I mean, you would be working in all over India, right? So
yes.
Is there any difference between the blind schools in North and South, or do you see the situation all over same?
No, I don't see much of a difference. I think it depends on the the kind of the management that runs the schools. We have seen schools which are extremely well run. I can give some examples like the National Association for the Blind Schools, or the NFBM, the National Federation for the Blind in Maharashtra, the Jagriti School in Pune, or the Pune School for the Blind Girls and the Blind Boys, and St. Joseph School in Madurai, or the Vijay Mary School in Vijayawada. These are extremely well run, well managed schools. And so there what we have seen is that the kind of programs that they run to inculcate learning as well as provide skill development for these students is much better compared to some of the other schools where such initiatives are not present, right? So what we try to do is, when we work with blind schools, there are two areas where we focus on. One is we help schools build the technical infrastructure. When I say technical infrastructure, it is like providing, if they don't have a computer setup, or if they have a pretty old computer lab or something like that, we try to set it up, we try to upgrade the computer lab so that they can have the latest and the greatest machines, and also the software that is available for the students to learn, right? So that is one area that we focus on, the infrastructure part. The second part is the training part, right? There are 2 or 3 important training programs we try to offer. One is the digital literacy program for the students. We try to offer these programs even at slightly lower levels, for example, even in 6th grade, 7th grade students, so that they can start learning the computers, using the computers, and get little well versed in this, as well as the communication skill. This is one major area actually where we have seen many of the schools are lacking, especially spoken English. So we provide spoken English training for many of these schools which are in our network. So these are the 2 main programs. And then if the school is offering, additional programs for the kids, we try and support these programs, right? We are not restricted only to these programs. We are open to any programs that helps the student learn and become better. Right?
Do you advocate inclusive education or special education?
We advocate both actually. We don't restrict ourselves to inclusive or special education. In fact, wherever the visually challenged schools students are studying, we are open to that. Some of our schools are inclusive schools. Some of the schools we work with are inclusive schools. Some of the schools are very schools for the blind, special education schools. So we don't restrict ourselves to anything. Our focus is most on the programs, what we can do to these schools, right? In terms of providing the technical infrastructure, in terms of providing training programs, and how do we build this capability within the students. So that is what we focus on. And the students who are really good, want to learn more, for example, they are already very well versed in computers. Now they want to start learning programming language, like for example, Python. Then they are free to register through our online classes, and then they can register and they can start learning, Python. So this is the way, we try and, build that interest in the students to learn more and become better at what they're doing.
Right. What are the 2-3 key challenges do you find before persons with visual disabilities in today's youth?
See, one is what we have seen is there is a big urban to rural divide mindset. I would say the mindset is completely different, especially when we work with the students from rural areas. There is generally a lack of awareness about what is possible, what is available, right? And that is pretty much lacking. It doesn't matter which state they are. We have seen the same in all the states. So that awareness has to be created. That motivation needs to be there, irrespective of where they live. So that is one challenge we have seen. That urban-rural divide has to be addressed. The second thing is even with people who have a college degree, right? Who have had a college degree, but the opportunities or the lack of employment opportunities actually over a period of time, demotivates them, and they are resigned to the fact that they'll never get a job. And so they are very happy, taking the small pension that the government provides on a monthly basis. So they are very happy with that, and they just want to settle down with that actually. So that mindset also needs to change, that they need to try hard, not lose hope. We have seen that those who try hard, they have succeeded actually. Especially when we have seen with students from our banking training program for the Banking Service Commission and all. We've seen students who have been able to clear the exam in their 5th attempt, 6th attempt, because they keep trying. So some people, lose hope after their first attempt. If they are not getting selected, they lose hope and then they don't try. So that is a second thing. And the third thing is now with the advancement in assistive technology, I think they should use it to the maximum. Whatever assistive technology, I think smartphones, in my opinion, is a great way for people with vision challenges to use a smartphone, and with that smartphone, they can access everything. And so that is another thing that I've seen. So that is one of the reasons why we actually have been providing a lot of these assistive devices, especially people in rural areas, people from economically weak sections,
Right.
who cannot afford even a decent smartphone. So we provide these devices. These are 3 big challenges I've seen so far.
Last couple of questions.
Sure.
Andhra government has started giving good pension. It is, I have heard, the maximum pension is 15,000. And you have also flagged the issue there. People are satisfied with the little amount when they started getting.
Mhm.
So do you think it's a good move, or it will, encourage people to take pension than doing job?
I would say it's both good and bad. Now, good in the sense that it actually helps them provide some livelihood assistance, for these people, especially people who are from a very poor background. It helps them a lot actually. So from that standpoint, it is good. It is bad because in lot of instances it makes them lazy, right? They don't want to try hard, right? So we have seen both sides, good and bad, and people don't try harder actually because they are getting this pension, and especially government, like for example, you mentioned Andhra Pradesh government is giving up to 15,000 per month, and so for many visually challenged people, they think even if I get a job, would I be able to earn more than this? Right? In many cases, it may not be true. Many cases, the starting salary would even be less, maybe around 10,000 or something like that. So they don't want to actually take up such jobs. So it's good and bad actually, but I think it is good for livelihood assistance, especially for women with vision challenges. We have seen this is a great assistance actually. Because for women, it's especially grown-up adults, they struggle a lot, and so this assistant really helps them a lot. So it's tough to say whether this has to be continued or not continued, but it has to be continued. But at the same time, there should be other interventions from the government to educate and enable these the people with disabilities and provide opportunities for them. Right. For example, in Tamil Nadu, the government runs a skill development program, called Non-Mudalvan scheme. But if you look at their portal and you look for how many people with disabilities have been trained, but you will see a small minuscule of people with disabilities being trained, because the focus is not on people with disability, but the focus is on a general population. So I think the government, in addition to giving the monthly pension, they also should focus on providing other kinds of skill development training, other opportunities to enable them and come up in life.
Yes. Last question. Vision Aid is in more than 50 locations in India.
Yeah.
And I rarely give compliment to people, but I must congratulate you and your team and your founder as well. You are doing exceptionally well. You're doing a great job. But in most of the conferences and the programs, Vision Aid or their representatives are missing. Why?
It goes back to the earlier question about marketing, right? I think we have not done a good job of marketing ourselves, but I think that is slowly changing. We want to start participating in many conferences, events, and boost our presence. So I think in the coming months and years, you will see a lot more Vision Aid, in these events actually.
I have covered more than 500 programs. I rarely see your representative.
No, very true. I agree with that actually, because like I said, our focus has been mostly on program execution and things like that. We have not really spent a lot of effort in terms of marketing ourselves, participating in these events and so on and so forth. But that is slowly changing actually. So we encourage our staff now, to participate in events, make our presence felt, and so that will, you will see a market difference actually, because now it's now one of our focus areas.
So what would be your message to the visually impaired people?
My message is there are lots of opportunities. It is for each individual to tap into these opportunities, go find where these opportunities exist, whether it is skill development training, whether it is education, or whether it is job opportunities or whatever. The individual has to put in the effort, to go and find where it is, tap into those opportunities, use all the help that is available, so that they can succeed and come up in life.
Thank you so much, Vijay Saab, for talking to us. And again, congratulations. And I hope you would continue these trainings and you will keep expanding your network in all over India. And thank you so much for giving us time once.
Thank you, Danish. Thank you for having me on this program. And I really appreciate spending time with you. And I'll keep in touch.
Great. Thank you so much. तो लिसनर्स, आज हमने बात की विजय साहब से, जो डायरेक्टर है विजनेट के। उन्होंने अपने 3 प्रोग्राम्स के बारे में हमें मोटा मोटा बताया। पहला प्रोग्राम है वो हॉस्पिटल्स में रिसोर्स सेंटर चलाते हैं, ताकि जो भी हॉस्पिटल में अनफॉर्चुनेटली विजुअली इंपेयर्ड होते हैं, ब्लाइंड होते हैं, जो लो विजन होते हैं, उनको वहाँ मदद पहुँचाते हैं। शंकर नेत्रालय हो और जहाँ और भी हॉस्पिटल्स का उन्होंने नाम लिया, शराफ हॉस्पिटल था। दूसरा प्रोग्राम है उनका ट्रेनिंग्स, पाइथन की ट्रेनिंग देते हैं, कंपैरेटिव एग्जाम्स की ट्रेनिंग करवाते हैं, डिजिटल एक्सेसिबिलिटी टेस्टिंग की ट्रेनिंग भी करवाते हैं। तीसरा प्रोग्राम है अपने पार्टनर्स के थ्रू वो असिस्टिव डिवाइसेस बांटते हैं, हॉस्पिटल्स के थ्रू और ब्लाइंड स्कूल्स के थ्रू। अगर आप भी इनके किसी प्रोग्राम का हिस्सा बनना चाहते हैं तो गूगल पर विजनेट सर्च करें और डिस्क्रिप्शन बॉक्स में मैं लिंक आपको दे दूंगा, वहां से आप एनरोल कर सकते हैं, रजिस्टर कर सकते हैं और उनकी ट्रेनिंग्स और स्कीम्स का फायदा उठा सकते हैं। अगले सप्ताह मुलाकात होगी किसी और पर्सनैलिटी के साथ। दीजिए इजाजत, सुनते रहिए रेडियो उड़ान, फ्लाइट ऑफ लाइफ। बाय बाय।
Your inclusive and accessible WhatsApp banking solution is here. UVCon empowers every customer, especially individuals with disabilities, to manage their banking needs effortlessly. UVCon features a simple, user-friendly chat interface designed for everyone. It prioritizes security and ease, making banking as straightforward as sending a message. From your registered mobile number, simply type "Hi" and send it to Union Bank of India's official WhatsApp number 9666 606 060. Select your preferred language for a personalized and inclusive experience. Follow simple steps to register. Authenticate with an OTP. Set your MPIN and TPIN in the directed browser window. And that's it. Your registration is complete. To start banking with UVCon, type "Hi." Authenticate with your MPIN. Click on Resume to UVCon to return to WhatsApp Messenger. An easy-to-navigate menu is featured with the following services: account services, government and tax services, debit card services, credit card services, check services, loan services, and many more. 66 services are available in total. Union Bank of India is proud to offer a dedicated menu category within UVCon for customers with disabilities. Access specialized support by connecting with our disability support team. Scan the QR code below to start enjoying UVCon WhatsApp banking services today. Union Bank of India is committed to making banking accessible for everyone. With UVCon, inclusive banking is just a message away. Experience the ease and convenience of modern banking today.
बड़ी खुश दिख रही हो।
एक्चुअली बड़े अरसे से सुधा मूर्ति की एक ऑडियो बुक ढूंढ रही थी, आज मिली है।
अरे बहुत लकी है तू। हमारे गांव में तो इंटरनेट ही नहीं है।
अरे तुम्हें मालूम नहीं, अब ऑडियो बुक सुनने के लिए इंटरनेट की जरूरत नहीं है। नैप दिल्ली ने लॉन्च की है IVR बेस्ड ऑडियो बुक लाइब्रेरी श्रवण।
इतनी लंबी किताब फोन पे कैसे पढ़ेंगे?
अरे पॉज, रिवाइंड, नेक्स्ट पेज, नेक्स्ट चैप्टर जैसे बहुत से फीचर्स है वहाँ।
अच्छा, तो मुझे कॉल कहाँ करना होगा?
ये नंबर अपनी कॉन्टैक्ट लिस्ट में सेव कर ले, 080-711-75215।
लाइब्रेरी की मेंबरशिप भी है कोई?
हाँ, सिर्फ नैप दिल्ली की मेंबरशिप ही काफी है। इससे रिलेटेड अगर ज्यादा जानकारी चाहिए तो 8826261166 पर कॉल कर सकती हो। और हाँ, अपना डिसेबिलिटी सर्टिफिकेट रेडी रखना।
थैंक्स फॉर द इन्फॉर्मेशन यार। फिर तो मुझे आज ही नैप दिल्ली की मेंबरशिप लेनी होगी।
तो अगर आप भी IVR बेस्ड ऑडियो बुक लाइब्रेरी का लाभ उठाना चाहते हैं तो आज ही कॉल करें 080-711-75215।